right, everybody. Hey, we are back. I'm so sorry. My nose is red, in case you noticed. It will be red on and off throughout this stream because I'm getting sick. So,
Oh no.
yeah, I'm getting sick. So I'm just warning you guys ahead of time. If I have to turn off my camera or sneeze or whatever, that's what I'm doing. I've been trying to. Yeah, I've taken so many allergy. Look, I'm zooted up right now. So this is all for y'all because I know that I had postponed it a couple of times already, and I'm like, I don't want to have to do it again. So I'm here, but as promised, I have Cassandra Centeno here, Esquire. She's an attorney. We've been communicating for several months. I want to say probably since the trial started for Jonathan Majors, because as you know, that's how I got here. And she agreed to join me. And we're going to actually, because there's been a lot of talk on different content creators platforms, in addition to on Twitter, on different other social media, in terms of, is settling a good idea? This is generally speaking, because there's been so much litigation in the headlines as it relates to high profile people. Some we know, some we don't. And civil suits and settling. And so I wanted to get someone who actually does this for a living, including negotiating settlements, that could explain to you in layman's terms how that process works, what it looks like, when is it a good idea, the pros and cons, all that, to kind of put to rest a lot of the conversation that may or may not be informed or may or may not be fueled by emotion or personal bias, and kind of bring it back down to earth and in more understandable terms. Okay, so let me get with the intro and then we'll get into this. All right. Okay. So
we're back.
We had put this survey up, I think, a couple of weeks ago. Have you ever sued anyone? We got 16 votes. 56% of you said no, but I thought about it. And that's very telling. And I'm gonna tell you why. And this is a non-professional. This is me being an everyday person that was once that I thought about it person, and then I became the be about it person. Because I always was the one that fell victim to situations where I should have sued. Most of them were automobile situations. See, my nose is turning red. I warned you. Most of them were automobile related situations. And I just was like, nah, I don't have time. Because, as soon as the accident gets reported, you have personal injury attorneys. They're calling you out of nowhere, out of the blue. One time I was actually pregnant and I was like, nope, I don't have the time. And now I wish I would have, because as a result, I do have soft tissue damage that I probably should have addressed way back then, but didn't because I don't have the time. So I think that 56% was probably those people, right? Or somewhere in between where you were like, well, I just don't have the time to go to all these doctor visits and talk to lawyers and go to lawyers' offices. Now they come to you. Now that you can do a lot of this via Zoom and video conference. But even 5 or 10 years ago, you couldn't. So you had to have time to go and do these things, right? So that was a deterrent for a lot of people, and probably at least half of the 56% that thought about it. And then you have the 6% that says yes, and 38% that said no. And that's a pretty high number too, because I'm sure that a lot of people probably could and should have, but don't, again, have the time or don't understand that they don't have to pay up front, because that's another barrier to a lot of people exercising their right to sue, is they think they have to pay. And 90% of the time, if it's a personal injury related suit, it's on contingency. You're not paying the attorney unless they win. And that's not like a commercial, but that's literally what it is. They front all the money. They won't take your case unless they know they're going to get paid anyway. So the odds of you winning are high. And that's why they can do what they do and not require you to pay up front, because they won't take the case if they know that they can't either settle it, which is what we'll talk about, or take it to court and win. And even automobile accidents, slip and falls, those also end up in court if the insurance companies don't play nice.
And if I can, Dan,
go ahead, Cassandra.
So the difference is you are paying if it involves your car or someone else's car or your homeowner's insurance, your car insurance, so you are paying for that. You know, you are, it's an investment into a lawsuit, or a potential lawsuit. And then also there is, a lot of people don't realize this, and we'll talk about this a little later, umbrella policies, where you get your car insurance and you're thinking, okay, my car is only worth what, I don't know, it could be $50,000, $100,000 or whatever. And so you get these, $50,000, $100,000. However, someone could get injured and bills just pile up, and they may sue your car insurance, or sue you rather, for $500,000. And your policy does not cover that. So what happens?
Right.
It's not good. And a lot of people don't realize that. And, you go to the doctor, you go to the chiropractor, 20 times or something like that. And then, you end up having to file for bankruptcy or something.
Whatever,
because you do not have enough to cover your policy. So... And there are, and here's another thing, we'll talk about the umbrella policy. And that's when you have, maybe $10 million. If someone sues you, you have this, even if they sue you for defamation. So you can have these policies, part of your homeowners or your car insurance, or if you have expensive jewelry or art or something like that. Umbrella policy will cover that. It also covers defamation. So I'm just putting that out there.
Good to know.
So if someone knows that you have this, and then you say something, they're like, oh, they have that umbrella policy. Let me sue them so I can get maybe $10 million because their policy is going to take care of it. Maybe that did not work for Rudy Giuliani. I don't know if you know this big lawsuit that I think it was $140 million, and it did not work for Amber Heard. Also, she had an umbrella policy because the jury found that the defamation was done willfully, was done with intent. Right. Sometimes you say things and you don't intend to harm people. You mean it. It's true. You're not saying anything that was not true or that you did not feel was true. So it was not, you didn't intentionally lie, basically. Right. So Amber Heard's policy did not cover her, I think it was her case with Johnny Depp. I think he just said, forget it. You don't have to pay. I think that's what happened to theirs. And then Rudy Giuliani, they will never get that money. $140 million. Just, he's selling everything. Bankruptcy won't cover it. So just putting out there.
Just putting it out there. And I'm actually putting it up on the screen, because Cassandra brought up a really good point. This is insurance that you can actually add on to your existing, if you own a home, if you own a car, if you own your existing policies. You don't have to be a celebrity or a politician or anyone like that in order to have an umbrella insurance policy. But like she said, if it's intentional, whatever it is that you're doing, just like any insurance, they're not going to pay out if you're engaging in behavior that is increasing your risk of being sued or of needing that policy. That's just like with life insurance. Like they won't cover you if they know that you're in a career that you're going to have a high likelihood of biting the dust. You know what I mean?
Right. So almost, every major celebrity or none, everyday people, we have it. A lot of people have it. Mm-hmm. And so
I'm actually going to go check and make sure I have it. Now that you mentioned it. But go on the guys, I'm going to put the link in the chat.
Sometimes you can check with your job, the benefits. A lot of us don't really look at all of the benefits that are available to us. If you look at your benefits, sometimes your company will offer that as well. So I highly, highly recommend everybody get some sort of umbrella policy, because especially car accidents, one can just wipe you out. And if you don't have that, or if someone, if they're visiting your home, even a rental property, you can get that for your rental. If you're renting a home, someone trips and falls, hurts their pinky, anything, they're going to sue you because they know that you have some sort of insurance. And if your regular policy doesn't cover it, you'll have the umbrella policy. And especially as content creators, this is another thing people need to understand. This people can come after you. So if you do not have any coverage, you need to get it. You need to have some sort of liability coverage, some sort of umbrella coverage, because people just like to sue, even if they don't win. Still, you need someone. They will. Your umbrella coverage will pay for your attorneys. They will pay people to settle this for you, and they do not use. They use major law firms. So if you look at Amber Heard's law firm, she had really good representation. So
good to know. See, you learned something. If there's one thing that's going to happen when you come on Danny Does This and That, is that you're going to learn something. Okay. So even though I'm no longer an educator, I'm still an educator, because that's the one thing that I like to do. And I was explaining that to Cassandra earlier, is that my shtick is that I like you guys to lead with information. Obviously, we're going to talk about what we're going to talk about, but I want you to leave knowing more than you did when you came. I don't want to get into the sensationalism and the drama and the theatrics and the talking points. I want to stick to the topic that we're on, but also inform you. You know what I mean? Go pro. It was the hashtag. I like to go with the pros so that you guys can be informed and well informed. Okay.
Someone says, I really don't think Amber Heard had good representation. Well, you can only do as good as what's in front of you. So,
but the thing too is, your representation is only as good as the client that it's representing. If your client is getting up there sabotaging the entire situation at every turn, you could be the best lawyer on the planet and can't recover from that. You know what I mean? So I didn't watch the entire trial, but from what I did see on court TV at the times that I did stop and look, I was like, whoa, what's going on here? I was like, who fell asleep at the wheel on this one? But, I didn't even introduce Cassandra. All over the place. Her bio is in the actual show notes for this episode, but she is an award-winning television anchor and host, attorney, author, and entrepreneur. She has international exposure that began as a news anchor at CNN, and she was the first female anchor of CNN Newsroom, leading the show to be nominated for 9 daytime Emmys. So I'm just letting you know we got some, high quality stuff going on here. Okay.
And I have to say, I had to do something for the Olympics today, and I had to track a piece, which is do a voiceover. So I had to go to another studio, and I did not have, and I'm working on someone else's laptop, and otherwise, and I owe you, Danny. I owe you. Otherwise, I would be on camera. So I don't have any of my equipment. I'm calling Danny saying, I don't have, my microphone is not plugging in. I can't hear myself. I can't do anything.
When I was in London, it was a mess. And I just was like, well, I promised an episode, I'm going to do it. But it was dark. It was a mess. The way my nose is turning red right now. Can you see that? This is crazy.
Oh, wow.
I might have to turn my camera off in a minute.
Oh.
But it's fine. I'm going to thug it out.
Well,
hey, Dr. Hines, let me say hi to my people. Yeah, Dr. Hines, I was with in London, and I was like, yeah, this whole audio video thing, it was a mess. I mean, it was good. You know, the episode was good. It got the normal amount of views, but it was frustrating. So I get it, because we almost lost our camera a few times. Hey, Pam, how you doing? Before I continue, make sure that you like, follow, share, follow, I was about to say Dr. Centeno. I guess technically you are, right? A Juris Doctor. Follow Cassandra on Twitter at I am Cassandra ESQ. She's on X. Make sure you follow her. Not sure if Lauren is going to join us. She was supposed to, but because we kept rescheduling, she kind of got a conflict. She might slide in, might not, but it's fine. I just wanted to, keep my promise to you guys and stream, because I've been going a long time, and I came back with a little friend in my immune system, but it's all
no.
That's why I said that's no dope. I didn't know that, Cassandra. Yes, hit that like button, just like Pam said. Hit that like. We need you guys to share and get the word out there. But we're going to focus on the topic at hand. I did post in the chat information about the umbrella insurance policy. I do not endorse any given brand. That particular website is Geico, because that's what popped up. Whatever insurance you have, they all have the same types of coverage. I just put that link in the chat because it was the easiest one to find, and it gave a very comprehensive, user-friendly explanation. But whatever insurance you currently have, be it Geico, Progressive, State Farm, Allstate, whatever, they all offer those policies. Aflac, whoever. So be sure, because they're really not that expensive to add on to your current insurance. So what do you think on average? Another $20-$30 a month or something? I don't really know. I can't remember, but
right.
It depends on what the coverage is too, because obviously if you're talking $20 million, it ain't going to be
right.
But I'm saying for everyday people that don't run a risk of being sued for $20 million, you could probably get a decent amount of coverage for a relatively affordable amount. Okay, so today we are talking about or rather the pros and cons of any kind of civil suit, of settling versus taking it to trial. Okay? So that's what Cassandra is here to lend her expertise on that. Oh, wait, y'all guys like my new mug? Look at that. As you noticed, in case nobody noticed, I have a thing for sunflowers. So I was in Marshall's today, and my daughter found this cup. And it worked out because I have my remedy that's not working in this cup. And it just happened to have a sunflower in it. Anyway, focus. All right, so Cassandra is going to basically give an overview of what it means to file a lawsuit. So that's the first talking point, right? Thank you. So I guess let's start there, Cassandra. What does it mean to file a lawsuit? So we're going to try to stay in the context of, and I hate to keep bringing it up, but because this is just what's going on currently in pop culture, we're going to keep it in the context of people suing celebrities, okay?
Okay.
Because this is what we're dealing with, right? Nobody really cares about you suing your landlord or, your employer. We're talking about people suing celebrities because of that's what's been going on in the last 20 years, right? Depp heard, you had Kobe, Diddy, was it Weinstein? It started out, right, as civil before it turned criminal. I can't remember. I know Cosby did. Did R. Kelly?
The one I told you, Deshaun, the football
Deshaun
player.
Watson.
I think he had 27. I think there were 27 lawsuits.
Yeah.
And I think they were all settled as well.
Yeah, that's a lot.
So.
And see, that's when you say 27, that's what, but anyway, O.J. Simpson. I mean, you have so many that have happened in the last 20 years that, we could go on for days, but that's the context in which we're going to be answering that question. What does it mean to file a lawsuit? Go ahead.
So I think we were talking about this earlier, that when you file a lawsuit and people know, unless it is very rare that the person does not expect it. Even if it's personal injury, even if you hurt my feelings, and even if you whatever it is, you are expecting that lawsuit, no matter who it is. Even if they say, oh my God, we were just so surprised, not true. You somehow, one side reached out to another side and said, look, this happened. Let's talk about it. Let's see what we can do so we can avoid filing a lawsuit. They say it a little nicer than that generally. And so the other side will say, okay, what is it? What do you want? What's going on? Kind of play a little dumb,
Right.
And then, well, this happens, and okay, show me what you have, because the other side is trying to figure out, what is it worth it? Should we ignore them, or do we need to just let it go away, or are they just bluffing? So you keep going back and forth, and you say, this is what I want. You say either yay or nay. If the other person isn't happy, then they file a lawsuit. So when people say, oh my God, they did that. No, somebody tried to avoid this. It just didn't happen, out of the blue. And I'm speaking of things recently.
Mm-hmm. Right.
They knew, when they say they knew it was coming, because, they tried to settle it. One side tried to settle it. Mm-hmm. And I do think, as an attorney, my personal belief is you want to avoid a trial. You absolutely want to avoid a trial, unless you're someone like Johnny Depp, who you have lots of money, you can afford it, and it is worth more than anything you could pay, because your reputation has been damaged, and you don't care about the money. You just care about your reputation, because you truly believe that you're innocent. You truly believe that, even if you don't work again, that this is more important to you. So. Mm-hmm. And there are a few cases like that. So the one thing you have to know, and the one thing every attorney will ask their client, is, what do you want? What do you want? And people think, oh my God, they just want money. But a lot of people just want an apology, for whatever that means. They just want to hear, I am really sorry for hurting you. And that sorry could mean the difference in $10 million or $250,000. Who knows? But sometimes people may want that. So I think that's when and it may not come from you, but it could come from your attorney, who's just very kind and thoughtful, and seems very sympathetic. Because I think that's the difference in who you have represent you, especially when you're dealing with a lot of emotions. Mm-hmm. If you have an attorney that can come across to the other side as in, what can we do? What can we do to help? To make sure that everybody's happy instead of being, I don't understand the nastiness, I don't really think it gets you anywhere when you're dealing with a lot of emotions.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to go there, but most of the time you don't. And especially in front of a jury, you absolutely don't have to do that.
It's like choosing your battles and budgeting your bitchiness.
Right.
I've learned that in the last, I'm currently, and I can't discuss it, but I'm just going to say the Department of Justice got involved, and I'm currently litigating. I'm suing.
Oh, wow.
But the thing is, and I've said as much, this has been the most humbling 8-9 months of my life, because when I tell you I crash out,
oh, wow,
I can crash out. And the amount of restraint that I've had to exercise in the face of egregious levels of disrespect and discrimination and audacity, and just it humbled me a lot. And that's why I said budget your bitchiness, because now I've learned where there have been situations where I would just snap immediately and just shut it down and end it. I've had to, you know what I mean?
Right.
I've had to, and that, for me, that's very hard, because I'm a type A personality, and that's how I get things done, and that's how I've gotten things done. And not being able to do that and reaching a solution as quickly as I normally would. Like Ramar, hi Ramar, hey Blue. Composure is the key to diplomacy. It's also the key to sanity and the key to victory, right? Because that's kind of like where you're going, Cassandra. Right. It's the key to victory. So now I know, because I've always been on the side of I'm right. I know I'm right, and I can cuss you out and be right and win. Now I can't do that, because now I'm going to prove you right if I do that. Even though I know I'm right, I can't prove you right in this one little area to mess up the big, the big picture. So
I wanted to say this before I forget about settlement. So settlement can come at any time. So settlement can come before someone files a lawsuit. It can come, after they filed, during the, pre-trial stages. It can come during the trial. So you can settle at any time. That's why when you hear, trials are happening during, a civil lawsuit, and all of a sudden they say, but right before they call the first witness or something, they settle, and everybody's going, oh no, this was going to be so good.
Did something similar to that happen with Kobe Bryant?
Well, I
don't remember, because I was really young then, and I wasn't really following it. But I do remember the trial ending abruptly.
No, there was no trial. So I think, and it did not. I think there was a threat of it, because he was arrested. However, nothing happened because she decided not to cooperate. So
I don't know why I thought the trial or some kind of hearing or something started, and then they found out
after he was
of the DNA.
Did he just? So I'm not going to say exactly what happened. I don't know, if they negotiated something. And she did not cooperate. So whether it was because of, she did not want to go to trial, but, we know that Kobe was an incredibly, wealthy man. Even though that was very early on in his career, even then he was incredibly wealthy. So if you have that much money, you can pretty
make
much
things go away.
Yeah, people can settle no matter what, even though, you could be, there's always an amount. There is an amount to make you say, okay, I will go away or I will not say anything. And then, if you do, you're making all kinds of agreements. And part of that is to not discuss the details. You want to make sure you do that. Even if, and I know we weren't going to talk about employment, but people should understand when you leave a job, even if it's voluntarily, that's still part of negotiation. You can still say, look, when I go, I do not want anyone to say anything negative about me to anyone. Especially, you can negotiate anything when you're leaving a job, especially if they happen to terminate you and you don't think it's fair. And they say, okay, I'm going to give you 2 weeks. Don't take the 2 weeks. Don't,
I
you
always
need
tell
to
people
ask.
that. Don't take that 2 weeks.
No, you need to say, give me a year or 2 years and then go from there or something, just depends on how every situation.
I don't even want 2 minutes. You mean a year to stay or a year's worth of pay?
Yes, a year or 2 years of pay. That's
what because I'm like, I don't even want to stay the 2 weeks, let alone another year.
No.
Oh, okay.
And it depends. If you've been there 20 years, then you can say, you can keep going more and more, and go from there. And then at the end, because they want you to sign and say you won't say anything negative about them, you need to put that on them as well. No one. And if they do, they're going to owe you. You can put whatever you want in there. Just because they're, a larger company, you have as much power as they do. So
you guys learned something else.
Just remember that. Everything in life, everything you can negotiate, especially with companies. Hospital bills, anything. You can negotiate. Doctor bills, negotiate. Yes.
Fun fact: I actually have a certification in negotiation from the University of Notre Dame.
Oh,
so yes, everything is negotiable, including my red nose. Hold on, because I gotta blow it. But go ahead, Cassandra. Okay. So
I'm telling you about some of the reasons why maybe you should not settle, such as Johnny Depp. You want your reputation. You want, everything was unfair to you. What happened, and you want to be able to give your side. You want, a trial so that everyone could see your side, and you don't care about the expenses of litigation, which trials are very expensive, incredibly expensive. If you think of how much attorney fees are, and if they are billing by the hour, even if it's contingency, somehow they still have to have, other people working for them, other expenses. And then you have to get depositions. And imagine depositions could be thousands of dollars, thousands and thousands, depending on how many you get. And then you get expert witnesses. Some of them could be like $10,000. So you can have all of this. And it's not just on one side, it's both sides. Yeah. So if somebody's suing you, you're like, okay, I have enough money. You want to sue me? I'm going to keep this train rolling. I'm going to also make it so that you have to pay. I am going to just bury you as well. So it may look like the other side, the plaintiff. The plaintiff is the person that filed the lawsuit. Right. And you're the defendant. So you can also just keep it going for a year or 2 years, but you have to have deep pockets because litigation is incredibly expensive. And then you get to the trial, and that's expensive because you have to pay all of these witnesses. You have to pay their transportation. You have to pay so much. So you can end up having $1 million or so in fees, or, easily, depending on how long it's been going on. So,
you got to pay that paralegal too, because we bill by the hour too.
Yes. So for someone with deep pockets, and you just want it to go away, or you want to just drag it out for the other side, and you're like, okay, you want to sue me? That's fine. Stand in line. I have, attorneys on speed dial, and I can keep it going as long as I want to go, and then I can appeal it. And then you're like, okay, you give up and then say, let's just settle. So that is, that's one of the pros of settlement. You don't have to deal with, all of the fees, the administrative fees, and you don't have to deal with the stress. You were speaking earlier, Danny, about being pregnant and being involved in, a car accident. And imagine if, and that's just, you're going to a doctor's appointment, but imagine if it's something that is a little more personal, to you, that involves some emotional distress, something that's really high profile, and people see it everywhere, and all they do is they talk about it when they see you, or like what's going on with celebrities, and you just really want this over, and your attorney says, oh, they're going to depose your friends about you. They're going to depose your old landlord from 10 years ago, and your high school teacher, and they're dragging other people through the mud and dragging you, and you're getting these calls every day, and it's so stressful. I mean, we can sit back and say, oh yes, sue them, go take it to trial, win. But when you're living it every day, you just want it to go away. You want your life back. You want your career back. You want, whatever's happened, even though people say, oh, I'll get my reputation back, you won't, because there will always be certain people that believe it, no matter what. It can be black and white. This person didn't do it. It can be video of you running away from people down the street. They're still going to say, you did it.
Right.
So there will always be people that believe it. But the longer you drag it out, unless you're someone with, Elon Musk money, and you care less what anybody says about you, the longer you drag it out, the longer it stays in the headlines, the longer it stays in people's memories. So that's another reason to settle. And then you can quiet everybody. So you can make sure that the person who is settling can't just make it their life's mission to just continue talking about you. Because you can say, look, you're taking this check, that means that you need to say this. We're going to agree on this. As in Kobe Bryant's case, we're going to agree that you just made a mistake, or you just, not going to cooperate. So, and that happens a lot. That is what we were talking about this, Danny, where you do these things before a trial. Certain cases, I'm not going to say what case, but they could have locked it down before it went to trial, because there was a window of time where one party wanted to communicate. One party, even though we may say, oh, she would not have. We don't, who knows? But if you're going out there as the defendant's representation, trashing, the victim publicly, of course they're not going to cooperate.
Now, question, is that still a possibility from a criminal side though? Because if the DA doesn't want to drop it, they don't have to drop it.
Well, they need the victim. They need the victim.
Oh, right. So it would have been the same kind of like the Kobe situation where you say, okay, I'm not going to cooperate. We talk.
Right.
good.
If she says, no, I did not say that, and that is not what the police officer said, I said, and the police officer, put these words into my mouth, or, the police officer said I was choked and I wasn't choked, that's another case. That's another case. You can negotiate anything, and there is a window of time where it's important to do that, where it's important that the attorney, maybe, the defendant can be mad and just say, this person lied, but it's up to the attorney, your representation. You hire them
to pull you back off
be
the
cool.
ledge.
Yes, yes, you can be mad, but your attorney should not.
Right.
And your attorney should not, just my opinion, if you notice, most of them will say either we will comment later, or this is
no comment.
Yes, but to go out and say these are the facts, these are the facts, these are the facts, you really don't know. You don't know, and you don't know even from your own client, because they just experienced this trauma, and it may or not. You're getting the story through their eyes. So it's best just to say, hey, why don't there's a window, let's see exactly what this other person wants, and maybe we can avoid all of this. Yes. Right. And that's what you should do. That is your job as an attorney, to protect your client, not say, oh, we're going to go to trial. We're going to go to trial and do that, because it's not in your client's best interest.
Yeah, because you're fighting a war that's beyond this current battle.
Well, you know
what I mean?
There are a lot of things we can say.
So to answer your question, yes, dialogue throughout the case, even during trial, is not uncommon. It is not uncommon. It's very common. And I hadn't even thought of that. Hadn't even occurred to me until you said that. And then I thought back about Kobe, and I just looked it up again just to refresh my own memory. Because like I said, when that happened, I was young. I wasn't even paying attention to it much. And I don't follow sports, so I didn't really care.
Well, happens in...
I looked back and I just came to realize, like you said, it didn't ever go to trial. It literally was what you said. They had discussions and she decided not to cooperate, and so it was dropped. And that's nasty work to me, because I'm like, damn, it's that easy.
It is that easy, and it happens every day. It happens every day. I don't know what's the television? Oh, Ray Donovan. Has anyone seen Ray Donovan?
No, I've never watched it.
Okay. So that Ray Donovan is like a fixer, and he was a fixer for celebrities, for athletes, for executives, for powerful people. A lot of people have their Ray Donovans. Attorneys are supposed to. If you have a client and and they are a very high profile athlete or someone like that, and say they happen to take someone to dinner, and things, just didn't work out the next morning, and your client went on their way, and the other party is just upset and says, you know what? Now that I think about it, I think that they took advantage of me, and so then it's up to your Ray Donovan to step in and say, okay, what do you want? What do you want? You're not going to get a relationship. So what is it you really want? So that happens all the time. And now, because of social media, and because everybody has a camera, because everybody, is online, or they have to show, everything, it's really scary now. So, I think one of my friends, who's a correspondent, he said to me, I know a lot of athletes, and he covers sports. He said, I know a lot of athletes that carry NDAs. And I said, that's not going to work.
Well, they just whip them out of their pockets
Yes.
and be like, oh, here you go, sign this.
Yes, like a blanket NDA. It's like, okay, that is not going to work. So what does a person do? The girl says, oh, let me call my attorney, and
Right.
check this out. Do they have time to do it, or when do they give it to them?
But the crazy thing is, I see how it would work, because the average person, especially a groupie, they're not exactly like at the top of the totem pole of intellect. So the average groupie, they just want to have their moment. All right, I'm going to sign it. Don't know what they sign. And the average groupie does not have nefarious intent. They just want to be able to say, bucket list item, and move on.
Right.
They're not looking for, long-term relationships or an opportunity to have you have this athlete, raked over the coals.
Right.
So it can work if you know your audience. You have to know your audience. You can't be going and getting groupies with educations, law degrees, me. I'm just kidding. But, I can make a good groupie.
Right.
But no, I can totally see how that would work, though, for the average side piece or groupie.
Well, I think there was a case recently, and I'm trying to remember who it was, and I believe it involved it was either an athlete or an actor, where they had an agreement, they settled. However, the person came back and said, no, I don't think that I got enough. And this went before a judge. I think the judge had to sign off on it. I'm trying to think of what happened. She got another attorney, and the attorney convinced her to refile. And I think that attorney got sanctioned, and something else happened. Oh, and then because she spoke out about it and gave details, I think she may have lost some of the money or something. I'm trying to remember.
A celebrity?
Yes, and I believe this person lived in Las Vegas, and I cannot think if someone can remember who this was. It happened in the past year, and it involved a celebrity, and she got this settlement, but tried to go back for more.
I feel like I should know that. Now I got to look it up.
Yes. And, so. And like I said,
Emmy Smith? Was it Emmy Smith?
I don't know. I don't recall. Of course, it will hit me in the middle of the night.
No, it comes up later if you remember it, because I feel like I should know that. I feel like I should know that, but.
So in almost every settlement, again, you have some sort of non-disclosure. You cannot, at least you should have that in there, where you cannot discuss any details. Otherwise, you will forfeit everything or have to pay some ridiculous fee. And that's what you want in there.
Right. You see, my thing with that is, and I said it before, I'm in the middle. I'm a middle of the road kind of person until I have enough information about a situation to fall to either side. I've said that I can be pro-trial depending on how much ammunition. I'm not even talking about the money, because for me, even in my personal life, anything, I always say peace of mind is priceless.
Right.
So obviously, I'm nowhere near in a financial position to have a high-profile trial on court TV. But my point is, when I say peace of mind is priceless, if you do have a policy in place that can cover you for what you need it to cover you for, and you have enough evidence, and kind of like the Depp Heard thing, we can never compare anyone to Johnny Depp. This guy has been in the industry since he was born. He's in his 60s. He has gazillions of dollars that he can, And I don't know if you know, but you can write off legal expenses on your taxes too. So, and losses. So, you know, that kind of stuff also weighs in on how far you're going to take it too. But I feel like if you have a leg to stand on, regardless of what their evidence is, if you have evidence that counters what their evidence is, and you have a good chance, especially when you're dealing with propensity of that versus reasonable doubt, you know, you kind of, that's where I'm with the pros and the cons thing.
So can you give me an example, Danny?
Huh?
Give me an example of what you mean by that.
In terms of what you have to counter what they're saying.
Yes.
Has
give me
more
an
weight to it. Okay, so for
Yeah.
example, I'm trying to find something neutral. Let me think.
Okay, so someone's suing you.
I have a neighbor dispute, right?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And so the neighbor is suing me because I stretched her out on the lawn after months and months and months of verbal threats and jumping in my face and, you know, damaging my property, doing a lot of stupid stuff. So I finally got fed up, cleaned the clock. Now she's suing me because, you know, oh, she hit me, da 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 da. I got this injury, I got that injury, yada 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 yada. Should I settle?
Yes.
Should I settle?
Yes.
No, listen, I don't know, because now I have cameras all over my property.
Right.
I have proof that you jumped in. Now I'm in Florida, so Florida has very loose self-defense laws.
Right.
All you have to do is jump in my face, and I have to feel like I'm in imminent danger, and I can knock you clean out and get away with it.
Yes.
So, you know what I mean? So in knowing my rights and knowing that I have this proof that this woman has antagonized me for months, has jumped in my face, has made threats, has damaged my property, has, you know what I mean? So at this point, obviously I have to have a good enough attorney to convince a jury that, you know, maybe I was under some type of direct stress or, you know, what do you call it? The equivalent of what would be a battered woman syndrome, where I just got to the point where I was like, enough is enough, and laid her out. You know what I mean? So
Danny, may I do both sides to this?
And now I can sue her for that. You understand?
Yeah, well, you should. You should counter. And you should always do a counterclaim, always, no matter what, because there is something. So let me tell you could have the type of personality where it doesn't bother you. You can go through the litigation and it's not going to cause you any stress. It won't cause you any stress that they're going to dig through her side. Well, first of all, they're going to paint you as, you know, a psychotic, out of control, you know, crazed maniac, you know, that all your life you have been this angry woman that's been hitting people, or people are scared half to death of you. Your kids are scared half to death of you. School's scared half to death. They're going to go.
The case. I have a clean criminal record. And the last fight I got into was in middle school. So they're going to go through. But I still got these hands.
Find people that you worked with and that you used to work with and say how you would walk in there, you know, and they were scared, you know, you raised your voice, you yelled. They're going to go to your kids' school and talk to parents and find some parents to say that they were scared of you and that their kids were scared of you. And they're going to even call your kids that may be adults now to see maybe if you hit them or if they had any sort of trauma or something like that. They will dig through your life to paint you, you know, as this just crazed person. That may not bother, you know, you. A lot of people it would. Now, on the other side, you do the same thing for you know, against them. Your attorneys will do that. You would do a counterclaim. You would, you know, say that you're suffering from post-traumatic stress and you know, have therapy because you were so afraid and you just blacked out in protecting yourself. So for a lot of people, that would not bother them. you know, and you may not, you just cannot stand this neighbor. You can't stand her. You want her to go away and you don't want to give her a penny of your money. I can understand that. However, you are investing your homeowner's insurance. What you pay is an investment in against headaches. So it's not like it's you're paying her. What you're doing is taking some of your investment, the money that you're not getting back.
Right.
You're
and that
just
you never
using
use anyway. Right.
Yes, you're using that to get rid of a headache. That's all it is. So, and that's sometimes how you have to look at it and just say, okay, or just come to an agreement. You know, your homeowner's insurance pays me, or, you know, you guys, the homeowner's insurance, talk to each other and maybe they give you, you know, 20,000 and she gets 30,000 or something like that. But it's just a negotiation against how much of a headache you want. You know, do you want to go through and drag your family, drag not just you, but your family and your friends?
See, that's what I meant, though, Cassandra, about knowing what you have, what leverage you have. That's the appropriate word. Knowing the leverage you have and being willing to go to trial, knowing you have that leverage. I would not go to trial if I thought they called all them people and those people would come up and have me looking crazy.
Right.
I know that I know for a fact they would be able to find nobody that could say anything like that. And if they do, I could easily counter that as well, because I'm the paper trail queen. I got emails from 2003. So if you want to find somebody from 2003 that said that they felt intimidated by me at work,
and
I'll pull that email up too.
Sadly, people lie, or they stretch the truth. That happens. You know, you watch a lot of trials. It's not as if people get up there when they say, I swear to tell the truth. Some of them tell their versions of the truth.
All the time.
So,
including the plaintiffs or the complainants or the victim. They lie all the time. And lying, and just so you guys know, because, you know, we use the word lying loosely, and as a very engaged and invested parent and very recently former educator, I try to instill in children that lying also includes omitting information. Just because you told the truth, but you omitted a chunk of information that would have helped me make a better decision about what you're telling me, that's still a lie. Okay, so just because you told part of the truth doesn't mean you're telling all of the truth. So that's still a lie. You might have told me that you tripped her, but did you also tell me you tripped her and pulled her wig off, or tripped her and, you know what I'm saying, kicked her in the back? Like, did you give me the rest of the information? Because now that makes it a lot worse than what you made it sound like, right? And I'm getting somewhere, but I'm not going to go there. Right. There's a question from Hazel McNeil. I can't discuss anything because I don't know, but this is
okay. So we're speaking hypothetically. Let's do this hypothetically. Say plaintiff files a lawsuit against defendant, and they decide, you know what, let's settle this. Let's, you know, and in this settlement, we're going to put NDA. No one can discuss anything with anyone. No one has knowledge of this except for plaintiff and say their counsel. No one else. So that means that, you know, no one else can know the details. So if plaintiff's family talks about it, then plaintiff's family would have to get that information from plaintiff. So I would imagine there would be a case where the defendant could, plaintiff would forfeit those funds, or the defendant would be able to, whatever they agreed to, whatever, if something happened, whatever details were in that contract. Yes, if it involves filing a lawsuit, but I would imagine it would not be, it would be something else where they could outright get the money, because you don't want to do that. You would say you have to pay this, and or go through mediation. You're not going to say trial. Most contracts, something like that,
right,
put
mediation, right, or arbitration, or something that does not include a jury and a judge.
Right.
That's a good question, though, and that also, I guess, kind of segues into, because I don't remember if I asked you this, but I did mention it a couple of different times in different places. To that extent, though, they might not tell their family, right? But I feel like, and I don't know this to be true, this is not a matter of fact. I'm just basing it on human nature and the human need to be heard, even though they can't do anything to be heard after that agreement is signed, right? So I feel like, let's say in a Cassie Diddy situation, because that's the most freshest, most ridiculous situation that's going on right now. You know, however long it took him to get to the point to where he was like, all right, here, take the 30 million or whatever the hell it was he gave her. Shut up, go away. And then in a matter of days, the very stuff that he was trying to keep from coming out came out anyway, and then some.
Well, so it didn't happen.
How does that happen? Like, I feel like
I know we talked about that.
That could have came out before then. So why did it come out after the settlement?
Danny, it didn't come.
Go ahead.
So we talked about this. So she filed. They did not settle beforehand. She filed. Then, and all of the information was in her filing. Everything was out there. That's when he said, oh, okay. Oh my gosh. Because beforehand, they talked about negotiating, and her attorney said, okay, we're trying to do it. And he said, I've never done anything, like this or whatever. I don't know if he made that statement before or afterwards, but then they said, okay, you don't want to fight. You don't want to give anything. Okay, fine. So they filed, and with the 50-page whatever complaint with the details, times, people, everything. And that's when he said, okay, let me shut this down. Let me go ahead and pay that within, I think, 24 hours. So that's what happened. But and he should have done that, in my opinion, just my opinion. He should have done that before, but I think he thought, oh, she is never going to share all of this embarrassing information, because everything she has to say about me involves her, and she's going to have to, and she does not want anybody to know all of the stuff that she did, while we were together. I'm guessing. That's a possibility that he could have thought that. And they said, okay. Care. They said, okay, fine, we'll show you. And, no one would know other than, the video that came out, that I'm absolutely certain came from him at his house. And I don't know why.
You're talking about the fake apology video or the hotel?
The hotel video.
You think he released that video?
No, he did not release it. That came after they had raided his house. And that's when it was released, because they went through all of his safes and everything. And then all of a sudden, it comes out. And I'm thinking, why? It's like a lot of people, a lot of criminals, like Dexter, the show Dexter, where Dexter kept like the blood from, all of his victims. They have to keep a little bit of something. And maybe he has a lot of other videos, but that's absolutely crazy. You're showing evidence of the crime. You're the only person in the world that has this evidence, and you hold on to it?
But I don't know if he held on to it, because from what I understand, and again, I haven't been fully engaged in it, but from what I understand, they paid the, I guess, hotel or whoever to give. But I'm like, there could still be copies. Like, this is like the 21st century. You can make somebody. This ain't 1985 where you just snatch the only copy of the video and cut the tape, and then nobody will ever see it again. You know what I mean?
Well, it was interesting that it came yes, hypothetically. Yes, they did release it after they got it from That's hypothetically speaking, right?
Right.
So
but I'm trying
no.
to figure out what led to the raid. That's what I was getting to. I was getting
Mhm.
to the fact that even though, yeah, you can't say nothing else. Obviously, your family can't, because where else would they have gotten information from other than you? But can you not put a little bug in somebody else's ear to be like, I can't say this. Nobody in my immediate, sphere of influence can't say this because they'll know where it came from. But can you get your cousins, uncles, brothers, girlfriends, baby mamas, third cousin to, you understand what I'm saying?
Right.
To somehow, because how did they find out? What led to the raid? It seemed like everything just started happening right after that settlement. Everything that he was trying to prevent from happening happened, and then some right after the settlement. So it was like, what was the point then?
So I believe,
and we still know all that nasty and perverted stuff that you did that you didn't want us to know about.
I don't know if we know all of it, but
I know. I mean, I don't want to know anything else. What I do know is enough, and anything else wouldn't even be surprising at this point.
So there was an extension of the law in New York, and forgive me that I don't have the exact name of it, where they extended the time period that victims could sue.
Yeah.
And so that
like
ended.
Frenzy. Everybody started.
Right. So they were doing it. Cassie, and I believe there were 2 or 3 more. So they did one after another. And I do believe that other people had been looking. I think a lot happened when he filed the lawsuit against was it tequila or cognac? That company.
I think it's the vodka, wasn't it Ciroc?
Yes.
Yeah.
So from what I understand, that opened a lot, because when you're suing people, most people, if they have a lot of money, they're going to hire investigators because they want to win. So the first thing they do, even though I'm sure they knew a lot about him already, I'm not necessarily speaking of him, but they're going to hire investigators to look into every aspect of your life. Especially if you're suing for, almost $1 billion. I don't want to give up that $1 billion. Let me go see everything I can find out about you and what I can do to harm you enough. So thank you so much, Pam.
Pam is the goat of all this stuff. Yeah, that was the Adult Survivors Act. They extended the deadline to apply, and that's when everybody started, including the whatever. Anyway.
Yeah.
But
so I think with the other lawsuit, from what I've heard, that sort of opened the door to somebody else having an interest in getting him sort of
banged up. Yeah.
Yes, and working with the DOJ, giving information. So that's just a possibility. That's something I heard. So I don't know.
Okay, well, that makes it make sense. Now, DJ has a question. DJ's new, unless he's changed his username. I've never seen DJ. Hey, DJ, thanks for joining. We have 56 people on YouTube. I'm not sure how many in Twitterverse, but make sure you guys I need to see 56 thumbs up. If you're all with the YouTube thumbs up, and then let me see who is on Twitter. Can you answer that question, Cassandra?
Okay, so if they lie in filings and you prove they lie, so okay, all right, so that's basically many lawsuits. So I sue you because I feel you hurt me some kind of way. And I'm going to say, maybe embellish a little. You did this here, there, and you're going to say, no, I did not. No, I did not. So we go to trial, and the jury either believes you or believes me. So they're going to believe you. So then what happens? It depends. Did I file a counterclaim? I could have filed a counterclaim and say, no, I didn't hurt you. In fact, you hurt me. And you hurt me also this way and caused me emotional distress. And the jury could say, you know what? We don't believe her. We believe you, the defendant. Mm-hmm. Therefore, you get nothing, plaintiff. Now in the counterclaim, let me back up. You, the plaintiff, will have to pay the defendant's attorney fees.
Right, attorney fees.
Yes.
Right.
Now, as far as the counterclaim, because the jury is probably so pissed off, what you did. Let's think of Amber Heard here, that they're going to say, not only he's not going to pay you a dime, but you're going to pay him a whole lot of money. So, that could happen, hypothetically speaking.
And see, that's where I was going as well. I don't know if I articulated that clearly enough, but that's what I meant by leverage. Now, because if you can prove that you're lying, and I can tell, and I also was hurt as well.
Right.
Clearly, there was evidence that wasn't even admissible, but now it is because we're on the civil side of this thing. You hurt me too. You caused me this kind of stress. You know what I'm saying? Defamed me by saying this, that, and the third that was not true, and I can prove that was not true, or it didn't happen that way.
Right.
So I'm almost willing to take that gamble if I can get enough proof to show that I can get that 51% on my side. Because this is not reasonable doubt anymore. This is the likelihood that what you said happened.
So if I can say this, now it's not as if this trial, this thing that's going to rehabilitate your reputation or whatever is going to happen tomorrow. It's not going to happen next week. It could happen 2 years down the road, 2 or 3 years. So you're going to be living with this. Your life, everything is going to be on hold unless you could just move on. And some people can do that. Some people can go to work. They have a job. They still have their jobs. Go to work, come home. And it's fine. Like, they can let their attorneys handle it. However, if it's high profile and everything, your life's on hold, as in Johnny Depp's case. The only thing is Johnny Depp has crazy money. So he could do that, even though he still wanted to work.
I mean, he's lived his
but
life.
He still, wanted to work. I mean,
nobody's not hiring him, are they? I think he's
he did. He did
what he's doing.
No, he did lose quite a bit. He's starting to work now, but for a good 3 years, I think Dr. Hines, he would know, because he really
he's actually here. I'm about to add him to the stage.
I mean, I watched every single day of that trial. Hey there.
Dr. Hines is here. Maybe you can answer that. What did Johnny Depp lose? I haven't followed. I'm not. I'll say this and I'll say it again. I don't watch a whole lot of TV. I'll watch certain movies, stream certain shows, but I'm not really in the know on a lot of this stuff other than, what I see at the moment. So I didn't really follow that. I watched snippets of the trial, again, because I'm not really into either one of them as celebrities. So I really was like, oh, okay, whatever. But
the Pirates of the Caribbean, right? I think they fired him from that franchise.
Okay.
They terminated his contract, and that was a big contract. That was
and I've never seen one of those movies, so I couldn't even tell you what part they were on. Is it like Fast and Furious where they got like 19 episodes, 19 parts?
No, it was huge. Pirates of the Caribbean was major. Yes,
okay.
It was. I think it got like three or four of them. I believe.
Okay, all right. Well, there's 23 on Twitter and 58 on YouTube. So guys, like, share, comment. All right. So he lost that. All right. But
he lost some sponsorship deals. Yes, I think he lost. I think there was one, a cologne, or maybe he has it back, Dior or something like that.
Okay.
And he just, his reputation was trash. And like I said, Johnny Depp had been a big star for most of his life. I mean, he started out in his teens or early 20s.
Yeah.
So I
remember him from The Nightmare on Elm Street, and that was
huge star.
Mid-80s.
And then he wasn't a good boy, but still he wasn't, and he may have, I think people thought of him as a bad boy, but his reputation was just in ruins. Dr. Hines, wouldn't you agree?
First and foremost, both of you ladies, how are you guys doing?
Yeah, good. I know you're tired because I actually did good readjusting back to American time. So.
Jet lag?
No, I actually do better moving backwards in time than I do moving forward. When I go to the West Coast, I'm in shambles for about 2 weeks. But I caught back up really quick. It only took me about 24 hours. So I'm back on track. But I know you're tired because it's about 3 a.m. there now. Right now, about 2.
Nah, 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock.
That's the late.
Nah, I'll be in bed in like 20 minutes. It's fine. It's fine. As you can see, my eyes are.
Your eyes are almost as red as my nose. Yeah.
Yeah, but just to answer Cassandra's question, and this is the first time I've actually spoken with Cassandra's face to face like this, orally. So
face to avatar.
Yeah.
But you have a lovely voice. So.
You have
I can never just use my female because my voice is so annoying.
and a lovely avatar, I must point out. But yeah, so in respect to Johnny Depp, so when he so quick timeline. So when the accusations came out in 2016 with him, he lost. I believe he was dropped from. No, he wasn't dropped. No. He wasn't dropped yet. It was in 2018. That's when he was dropped. It's one of his tours was cancelled, I believe, or something or something like that. Then Fantastic Beasts came around. That's the one he lost his movie over, which is what he sued in Virginia for because he was fired from Fantastic Beasts for the article that Dan Wootton wrote.
I don't want to interrupt you, but that's what I was about to say, because I do remember that part, that when she lost, it was for his income. That's what he sued her for. I don't know if she was able to pay it, but that was the whole point. Was the money he lost on those deals that tossed him away. And that's why I'm thinking again, Cassandra, when I said leverage, because it's kind of like, if I can prove that all this stuff that you're saying, which in the grand scheme of things, you know what I mean? And stick you for all the money that I lost since this situation popped off, I might want to run that risk, especially now that I got these dream team attorneys on my. You see where I'm going? I'm kind of on the fence because I don't know what you have in your pocket. Right. But if you have, excuse my friend, some good shit in your back pocket, that's going to get you that 51%, because that's all you need.
And I think in Johnny Depp's case, he didn't care. He just wanted to get up there and tell his side of the story for everyone to hear. He didn't care if he won or lost. He really didn't care. And he had enough money that could happen. But there are a few of us that have that kind of money that can say, okay, we don't care. I just want to get up there and tell my side and let people see and believe me. And he is, and this is another thing, you have to get on the stand in a civil case. Yeah. Criminal, you don't have to. We're not all good witnesses. No matter how great you think you can speak, how great you think you can come across, you cannot go up against, other attorneys.
That
You
yeah,
don't
that
know what ticks you have.
you
You
up,
don't know, like Amber, a lot of things she did, and she's an actress, she would turn around. There are a lot of things she did that just really turned people
well,
off.
weird, like that whole thing she did with the face and the twitching.
And a lot of people do that. You just don't know how you're going to come across,
right.
No matter how good of an actor you are. That's why, making a left turn here, when people get stopped by a police officer and they think, oh my God, I can talk to a police officer. There are certain people, I think, as a lot of us people of color, we know, don't say a word. Nothing I do, I can't charm them well enough. But some people may think that they can talk to a police officer and get away with things, but you can't. You cannot do that, even on a witness stand, and everything you say, they are going to go through it, and they are going to know what buttons to push. And then the jury is looking at everything about you and how you move and how you look, how you blink your eyes. And you just, you don't want to do that. And we're not all Johnny Depp, he was pretty good. I have to say that he was one of the rare ones that was decent on the stand. But there aren't a lot of people like that. And I think it's also because he just really didn't have anything to lose. He just did not have anything to lose.
And I think that when you're at that point, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, Cassandra. That's my thought process. Because people say, or people when they hear he or she has nothing to lose, they think that you're like at rock bottom and you're like sitting in the corner at home drinking and popping pills. No, sometimes
or maybe they are.
Right? You could be, but I mean, somebody with my type of personality, though, when I say I have nothing else to lose, I'm not saying that in that context. I'm saying that in the context of what else could you possibly say or do that's going to make me look any worse than I already look? So I want to clear my name in a legal arena.
Sure.
And because at the end of the day, like you said, people already think what they think, they believe what they believe. So at this point, again, leveraging what I have on you versus what you think you have on me. What else do I have to lose? Like, what are you going to say that could possibly be any worse than what was already said, already shown, already assumed? I've lost this amount of money, this number of deals. I probably won't be seen on a screen again for another year. So now that would make, 2 years since I've worked.
Or ever. If you're thinking 1 year today, it could be so bad that you may not ever.
So what's the point in me settling if nothing's improving right now? I may as well just go hard and then go home, because either way the outcome's going to be the same, and then write off these legal fees on my taxes. We have a question from DJ.
What grounds? Well, that's up to a judge. A judge can decide that there's really not enough evidence, or there's not a basis. A lot can happen. And I know what I think where DJ is going in this case. Civil suits, it depends. It also depends if it's done in the right, if they did it in the right court, or the right area. If somehow you happen to live in Minnesota and the other person lives in Miami, but you filed a lawsuit in California. It's like, and it didn't happen in California, but you say, well, my cousin lives there. My cousin happened to be here, or something like that. So there are many, many reasons why, but they could just refile, in the proper place, or refile, with a different claim or something like that. So it's just, it can keep going. It can keep going.
Right.
I will say this: when you talk about if you're thinking of a trial, and you think, oh, this person needs to sue this person. Say it's a celebrity. Now, think about, and I'm going to use R. Kelly. And if you remember the R. Kelly and the interview he did with, what's her name?
Gayle King.
Yes.
King.
Okay. So now, all right. So now,
Robert.
Okay. Now, before that, any interviews he had done like previously, you thought, oh my God, he seems so charming and funny or whatever. However, you saw him in a fairly serious interview. So think of your favorite celebrity in a fairly serious interview with someone saying, why did you do this? Why did you do this? And how they came across. Did they come across strange, odd? Did they say things that they shouldn't have said? Did they look weird, or what's going on? Now, think of that person in court, on trial, in a witness stand, and they're not just going up against a journalist. This is a seasoned litigator.
Mm-hmm.
And think about how they will look. Think about the things that they will say, or whatever's going on. So Pam is so funny.
Robert.
So when you just because they may have so much evidence, but when they get up there, and OJ did the same thing, he got on the stand and then he just started talking.
But Cassandra,
wait.
Irony or maybe coincidence in that?
Yes.
Is that they're the same type of personality though. These are those, and I hate because the word is being used so flippantly now, but they are textbook narcissists. Along with Trump. They're the type of people that, despite what their lawyers tell them to do,
right,
they are going to get on that stand and say the exact opposite of what they rehearsed. Because I'm positive that y'all sit there and rehearse with these clients and even act like the opposing attorney, saying crazy stuff that is going to get objected to and sustained, but they're going to just put it out there just to get a rise out of the defendant.
Right.
So
I have to say, even if they're not a narcissist, sometimes people say things because it's in their heads and they know they're not supposed to say it, and they forget. You're nervous. You're going to be up there 3 or 4 days, maybe a week or even more. You're tired. You've been on the stand since 9 o'clock until maybe 5 o'clock, and you're getting badgered about details. Why? What is it about this person that made you think that you needed to describe them as, I don't know, Coretta Scott King, hypothetically speaking? Sorry. Just, tossing that out there. And what do you say? What do you do? Here this person is, and they keep going on and on. Why did you say this? Why did you do this? What? But you said this, you did that. So I don't know. You may not want to, and I know you say just you have nothing to lose, but when you are not Johnny Depp and you are a relatively young person and you want a career, you want to put everything behind you, settling, you've lost already. You've already lost a lot. You just don't want to keep losing unless you just, this is going to be your life's work, fighting this. Who was the actor? I think it was The Birth of a Nation. What was his name?
Nate Parker. But the crazy thing with that was this was nothing. This was literally something that happened 20 plus years prior.
Yeah.
And it was dealt with. He was not criminally charged. There was nothing on his record. And it just so happened, fast forward 20 years later, the lady checked herself out of Club Life and having nothing to do with him, and it was just brought back up randomly doing an interview about his movie, and then everybody got fake outraged about it, and he lost his entire career over something that had nothing to do with him at that present moment. She literally just asked him, "Oh, by the way, what do you think about your ex from 20 years ago checking out a Club Life?" Like, and he was like, "What?" He literally looked at her like, "Who? Like, what are you talking about?" And then people started Googling, like, what was she talking about? And then found out that he was accused of doing something to her, not charged or convicted. And 20 years later, she never got her life together, and she, you know what I mean, took herself out for some other reason.
And how long has that been? How long has that been?
Oh,
That's
he
like
almost 10 years now, right?
Right.
Death of a Nation was when?
Right.
I don't even, when was Birth of a Nation? Was a long time ago, because that was the last movie, right?
I believe so.
That I
or
remember.
At least major.
2016, yeah. So that's going on 10 years ago.
And here, relatively young guy. And what's going on? What's he doing?
But somebody brought up a good point. And see, that I think is why I feel like I do, where, like I said, if you have that leverage, because I feel like this is more than what the battle is on the surface. I feel like Johnny Depp took one for the team for his demographic, dealing with this Me Too era nonsense. So now Nate Parker took one for the team, but didn't have, there was no recourse to that because the person was gone off the earth. So he had no recourse for recovering after that being brought up. But you have someone else that took one for the team, but our demographic is not benefiting from it because, everybody's like, settle. So that's kind of where I'm torn too. Like, nobody wants to be the poster child for whatever, but this is where it is now. And we all know that this is where it is now. You even know that this is where it is now because you've articulated as much in terms of bringing up that issue, in terms of if I was this would not have happened. So you already know what it is. You said what it is. So you inadvertently kind of put that cape on that now you got to kind of be Captain Save the Brothers out here that are going to fall victim to this time and again if you don't fight it. You see what I'm saying? But again, don't fight it if you don't have a leg to stand on. But if you got enough leverage and you, again, have nothing to lose at this point, because you really don't, you might want to be the Johnny Depp of the brothers. if you can sustain it, and if long term it's going to it was a whole different thing, because with Nate Parker, he did not get charged, arrested, convicted of, he didn't get nothing.
Wait a second. No, he did.
Got arrested, but then he didn't. Yes. It did not result in any conviction.
Right. He was acquitted, but I think his friend or his buddy wasn't. It was two of them. And it was a really drawn out thing, but he was in college, and she said that they harassed her, and I forgot exactly all of the details, but it was really ugly how it all came out. Yes. Okay. It was voluntary. Well, then what happened with the other guy? Why did they find the other guy, his friend, guilty?
I didn't follow it because, again, I didn't know anything about it until what's her face said it on Good Morning America too. I was like, who, what? And then, social media wasn't what it is now.
Right.
So nobody could drag it out and take it to another level, thank God. But that little bit was just enough to like put the kibosh on his whole thing.
I find with a lot of actors, I guess it depends on the amount of power you have. Because and Nate Parker, he's another one, did not, he did not have a lot of power in Hollywood. Johnny Depp, of course, does. But Weinstein, he was one of the most powerful people. So, the fact that
with this, because you have to be really, I believe he did everything that he did, but the law is the law. And his thing got overturned for a reason. So that's why you have to be careful when you're prosecuting on an agenda. You have to be careful that you don't miss one of those dots on the I's, because then this is what happens. You know what I mean? And at this point now, he's another poster child for that demographic fighting against this Me Too fueled type of prosecution.
So what do you think of Deshaun Watson, who had 27? Now, he never got arrested, football player, 27 civil claims against him, 27 different people, women, that said that he somehow sexually assaulted or had inappropriate behavior toward them. Never got arrested, and he settled all of them.
Yeah, I don't know. Anybody know about the Deshaun? Now, what were the 27?
Let me see if I can. So I knew it involved massage therapy. He would go like different places and hire these women to give him massages. And then he would, want to take the massage
the happy ending. He wanted a happy ending.
Yes. And this was 27 different ones.
I love that Cassandra is as prude as me.
Yeah, I'm as what?
As what?
You are as prude as I am.
Oh, prude! You're scared to say those nasty words. They wanted a happy ending. You wanted a happy ending.
We leave that for Danny. We leave that for Danny.
Oh no, I mean, I don't do that in public. But I mean, a happy ending. I mean, we all know what that is.
Yes, he exposed himself, yes, all of them were settled. And it, of course, the NFL really didn't do anything.
Right.
And he did not get arrested because they would, you need to at least have the victims be able to cooperate. And when you settle, they're not going to cooperate.
Mm-hmm. But then when you settle too, you leave room for other people to come. That's why, like I said, I'm in the middle. I'm still in the middle. I just feel like when you settle.
But how do you know that what you're settling for? If you accuse me of something and then I say, no, I didn't, and then I accuse you of something, then I say, you know what? We came to an agreement.
Now that's fine.
That's
fine.
What settling is. That is it. It's some sort of agreement.
That's fine. But if it's a settling in the terms of everything's on your lap, you did everything and you're just settling just to make it go away, I feel like now everybody else is going to be chomping at the bit like, oh, my turn.
But how would they know? And we're not talking about Diddy. We're not talking about we're talking about other private agreements, and most of you don't hear anything about them. Like, you don't know anything about Kobe's details. We don't know if he gave her $1 or $1 million, or if maybe they said, hey, if you do this, then we're going to bring this out. Just shut it down. You don't know. So when people think settlement, they really need to think agreement. We agree on something. We agree, you leave me alone, I leave you alone, we go our separate ways, that's it. Nobody's going to sue anybody. Or we can agree on money, but nobody knows. It is just on you, and the other person will know. That's it. So if you just use the word, hey, we came to an agreement and we're just going our separate ways, then okay. Other people don't have to say, oh yeah, he did that or she did that. They're guilty. If you just say, we came to some sort of agreement.
But then what if I'm sitting in the back? Like, well, what about me?
Oh, you mean someone else? But someone else is always going to be there. If there's somebody else waiting. So I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. First of all, I think that timeline has gone. I think they're over. I think there's a statute of limitations for that.
Unless they're somewhere in the mix. I mean, I don't know.
So I don't think so. But if somebody wants to, there's nothing you can do to stop that. So I would. You should not be afraid. In fact, here's the thing. Oh, you're leaving?
I think Hines is ready to go. You got any last words, Hines?
My eyes are really heavy.
Oh my goodness! What time is it there?
So heavy. I'm joking. It's near 2:00. I do need to go.
Oh my goodness! Wow.
But before I do go, I did want to ask you a question, Cassandra.
Okay.
It goes back to your. This is ignore me because it's my mind. It's weird like this sometimes. You said something like 10 minutes ago. That's how weird it is. I actually remember 10 minutes ago. But you said something 10 minutes ago in regards to OJ testifying. I just want you to clarify because I know some people might watch back on replay and they might wonder, wait, OJ testifying? So I wanted to clarify. Did you mean OJ testifying or someone else? But you just use OJ's name because it's...
No, I specifically meant OJ Simpson during his civil trial.
The civil.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I get the context now. Just okay.
Yes.
Because remember he lost the civil.
Yeah. Yes. I know. Yeah.
If you will look at when he initially got arrested for the murders, and he voluntarily spoke with the police without his attorney present, and they videotaped it. That is a lesson for everyone, a lesson in what you don't do. And
remember, I ain't black. I'm OJ. So he thought he could do that.
Yes, he was. A lot of people think that they think they can just go in and charm, and he thought he could, like he's out on the playing golf with these guys. He just went on and on and on, saying things that he should not have said. And he did the same thing in the civil trial. If here someone was brutally murdered, and the mother of your children, your ex-wife, the only thing you can think of is saying negative things about her and her boyfriends and what she was doing,
and the coke habit,
and you have absolutely no sympathy or any remorse about anything, not even about saying that you did it, but your behavior in the past. So that's what I meant about you get up there, and you've been up there on the stand so long, and you have this mental fatigue, and then you have these people that are trained in how to take advantage of that.
Yeah.
And so.
Okay. Thank you so much for clarifying that again. Thank you.
Sure. I hope you get rest.
I am. Okay. I'll message you in the morning. I'll message you lovely days in the morning.
Right.
Thanks for the invite, Dan. So.
Oh, no problem. Thanks for coming. I'm like, it's late, buddy.
Man. Yeah. Have a great one. All right.
Good night.
Good night. Well, good morning.
I love your bottle back there.
I can't wait to. There's a design I want to unveil, like a real life painting that's gonna be here. Can't wait to show it.
Nice.
But yeah. Anyway, take care, everyone. All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Good night.
Bye. See you soon.
This is like a toddler fighting.
Yeah, like how they be bepping. Like,
I have been listening, and every time it got more intentional as well. Like literally, like
yeah, exactly.
Pam's got great eyes to see that.
I don't know. We all see it, boo.
Yeah.
All right, take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Good night. All right, bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, so is there anything, any other questions before I call it a night?
Anybody else have any more questions? So as you see, Cassandra's all about settling.
Well, not necessarily. Like I said, if you have, you need to get your reputation back, and you have endless funds, and you don't really care about the expense, and not just financial expense, but emotional expense. The expense of, your family and friends' pain. If that's, not a concern, when it comes to something like, that there's emotional damage. Now, if there's a car accident or, and still they're going to do the same thing. They're still going to go through every bit of your background. They're still going to investigate everything. Anytime you go to trial, that is what's going to happen, because they are going to use every tactic they can. They're going to, dig through everyone, call your elementary school enemy, go back to find people, to show that you are not really a decent person, that you are not a person of good character.
Yeah, but most people, the good thing, I say that social media and the current state of how easily we can access information is a blessing and a curse. The blessing in that is, thanks to shows like Law and Order and Suits and everything else, people know those tactics. And anybody with an ounce of common sense and life experience knows that you do not put any stock in anything somebody did in third grade. You can't even put any stock in what anyone's done probably before the age of 25, because everyone knows, now I'm back in my teacher mode, from a developmental standpoint, you are just not emotionally, psychologically, socially mature enough to make certain decisions, and nor do you have the critical thinking skills that, especially now, I feel really bad for anybody born after 1981, because that generation is like,
also, you can find a million people, not maybe a million, but so many people that will say something negative just because
they want that moment in the sun, right?
Or just because they disagree, or because of anything. So that part, it doesn't matter. People, the general public could care less, or they may not believe. But that's not what a lot of people may need. Their employer. Their employer may wait to see. Their employer may say, oh my God, I really heard this, even though they won the case. But all of that, I don't think I can really have that sort of person in my company. So, there are,
I don't know.
I don't know.
I think we're talking corporate versus entertainment, though.
Well,
because
entertainment
is Brown recovered. It's almost like he did better after Rihanna than he was doing before Rihanna. It's almost
entertainment is corporate. Entertainment is corporate. So it depends. And Chris Brown is a singer. I don't know who he doesn't have a record deal with Disney. He could never have a record deal with Disney. So,
but he acts, though. He acts, he sings, he dances.
He did
he
act.
does all that still.
No, he did have a great career, I thought, and he was incredibly talented as an actor. What have you seen him acting in the past 10 years? Maybe,
Oh,
yeah.
haven't.
What
I
have you
don't
seen?
follow him like that. But does he need it?
Nothing.
That's the question.
Nothing.
The
But does he
question is,
want
does
it?
he need it? He doesn't
But-
need it.
But how do we know that? How do we know he doesn't need it? Maybe
Well, I mean, I know he has a lot of investments and stuff, like franchises and countless other things. So, I mean, I think the difference too between music and movies too is that musicians are supposed to be dysfunctional and crazy and violent and, you know, everything else. So, and he always had this bad boy thug type persona.
Right.
So
that's
that just
what
solidified it, I guess.
Here are my last words. So it is not, for a lot of people, it's really not about money. So there are, especially actors, what they do is tied to who they are. It's tied to something deep inside of them that they have to, let out. They want to, be able to, they have a special talent and they need to show that to the world. They have to be able to do that. Some of them feel as if they can't breathe, if they can't act. So you take that away from them. Who are they? So Chris Brown, he enjoys singing, but maybe he also would love to act, and who knows, maybe that could come, but we don't know if that isn't something that he really, really wants to do. And he's saying, I can sing and pay my bills this way, but really what I would love to do would be to act. So, and when you look at people that are entertainers, and there are corporations that have that power that could take things away, can take things away from them. You don't, in my opinion, unless you're Johnny Depp, unless you're, you don't care about your reputation, but you don't want to give these outlets more information, more, let them know more so that they could say, oh, we're not going to hire you. Oh, you're not going to be in this. We're not going to give you this contract. You'll be doing indie films maybe for the rest of your career. You will never, you want to have that outlet, you need to produce it, direct it, yourself. You will never, ever get, part of this. So sometimes, and I understand the balance, sometimes you have to say, hey, what can I do to get on with my life so I can have a future, so I can put this all behind me? I know everybody says, oh, fight it. But for me,
don't you wish there was a way to sit down? I wish there was a way that you can run a poll to all of the employers that you want to have and be like, if I settle this, will you hire me back?
But no, if I come to an agreement.
Well, if they said that if I settle it, they'll hire me back.
Or if I come to an agreement, not settle, we're going to take that settlement out of the way. We're just going to say, agree to let this go, to just, I'm moving on. So that's what we should say from now on. Let's use the word agree, that everybody's just going to agree to move on and go about their life.
Okay, last question though, because all this being said, shouldn't we have done this months ago if we were going to do it?
I think we should have done it like a year and a half ago.
Okay,
that's what I think. I think we should have done this, like, say, the end of March, 2023. That's when it should have been done. And I've said that from
after the complaint or before, because the complaint was March.
No, after the arrest.
Oh, you mean the first March, not this current March.
Yes, 2023. That's when, and I've said that from the beginning. I've said that, and anybody can look. I would always say that maybe somebody needs to think about, who's directing things, think about changes, because I just felt the things that were coming out should not have come out immediately, and they should have locked it down and agreed to just go away when you could do it. And they could have done that all the way up until before the trial, because all they needed was, the state needed the witness.
Yeah, and like Fabio kept saying, what was the phrase that he kept saying? No witness, no trial or something like that?
Right. So I just, and I really think it was, in my opinion, I think if you have cool heads, decide trying to say, hey, what can we do? What can we do? What is it you want? And that first 2 weeks, you knew what they wanted. They wanted to stay. They wanted, please don't leave me.
Mm-hmm.
You do whatever you have to do in that moment. No matter how angry you are, you do whatever you have to do to let it go away.
Like I said, you cannot I don't put anything before my peace of mind. I don't.
Right.
I don't. That's, if anybody that knows me personally knows that I take it very seriously. I take it very seriously. And like, some things are just not worth your peace, your sanity, your dignity, your independence, your integrity. You know what I mean? Some things are just not worth it. It's not worth it. And like you said, if you gotta grin and nod, until you can make a clean break,
exactly,
that's your best bet than to piss somebody off that you don't know what they can do or what they're capable of doing, especially when you're on the other side of that color spectrum.
So she would have been charged. So he did not do that until the summer. I guess that's when he went. When did he go to that didn't happen until the summer. Yeah. So they had room. I think that was like the last, I didn't even understand that. But so I don't know.
Not necessarily understanding, it's advising, Because I'm also a real estate agent, so it's similar to retaining an attorney in the sense that you need to listen to the professional. Right. You cannot list your house for this when it's only worth that. You can, but I'm gonna tell you right now, it's gonna sit. And if it sits, the longer it sits, the less value people see.
Well, here's another flip side. But you are a good ethical realtor. So if you have realtors, and that's why
I will never get rich in real estate, because I am too ethical. I cannot sit there and mislead people for a check.
Maybe you just want, realtors that get this house and say, oh, that's, I represent this house. See, it's all about me. I have this house.
Yeah.
See how great this
and
house
how
is.
Many listings I have.
And yet I'm not doing anything to sell this house. I'm just making it about me, and not thinking about my clients. So,
and how good it looks on my resume to say that I had this $1 million listing, that $1 million. Forget the fact that they set on the market for over a year and didn't sell, or had to keep dropping the price. I got to say that I got to list that house.
Right. Wonder Woman, I absolutely agree. Yes, absolutely. Yes. Not in April. It should have been. When did it happen? What did it happen?
Well, it happened March 25th. So probably by my birthday, April 3rd, it could have been done with.
Exactly.
It could have been done with by my birthday, and then we wouldn't even be having this discussion.
Yes. I don't. It should always be about the client and how a plea. First of all, it shouldn't have even gotten that far. And what does he want? He didn't want a plea deal. He didn't want a plea deal. I mean, if he plead to what? What would he got probably a better deal at trial than he would have gotten with a plea deal. So he would have still had to plead guilty. So that would not have helped him.
Yeah.
So I just think it would have been better, or it's always, not speaking about that, it's always better, especially when you're dealing with a he said, she said, kind of and the he could be made to look like there's already this illusion of, he's this big bad me. He's like the character he plays in the movie. And then they have all of this other stuff. See, listen, he yelled, he cursed. See, he is bad. He is capable of doing this. So when you know that, and you know that you need to protect your client, you don't want anything negative. They have these huge contracts. You want to hold on to them. You don't want to drag them through almost a year. You don't want to do that. You want them to hold on to everything. So you should be thinking strategically. How can we make this go away? How can we, keep this under wraps and make it go away? Even who was the basketball player with the girlfriend in the hotel? What was his name? And the police said that initially they said that he broke her neck. I can't think of his name. The basketball happened like last year. Someone knows about this.
A basketball player that broke.
That's what he said, that he choked her so hard that broke her neck. She's also a basketball player too. She plays for WNBA.
Where the heck have I been? Maybe that's because I don't have. Is it Kevin Porter?
Yes.
Oh, that's the one that was in New York. The one that was under the same
DA.
Right.
Okay, exactly.
Okay.
Right.
All right. Yeah. Kevin Porter.
So,
and then the girlfriend went on. Was it Roland Martin or something? And said, no, that's not what happened. And they.
Correct.
I remember that now.
Correct.
Yeah. I didn't know they said something about breaking a neck.
Yes, initially that's what.
Oh, because the strangulation thing.
It was really bad. It was really bad initially.
Oh wow.
Yes.
Good grief! But he actually ended up taking a deal, right?
He got a better deal than he had a better, I think he only had to do 6 months. He had to do 6 months of therapy.
Oh wow.
And whereas Jonathan had a year.
Yeah.
So
and the classes.
That's what the therapy.
Well, no, he got therapy and classes.
Yes. Well, I think his was just 6 months.
Yeah.
However, you did not hear anything. No one was saying anything. His attorneys were not saying anything about her. They did not say anything about her. So that's the difference in his representation. They were not trying to trash her. And then all of a sudden, she said, they are just lying. I am not going to cooperate with them. They're lying. No one knows what happened. I don't know what happened. So I see. But it went away.
It sure did. He still has his job, right?
As far
I
as
don't follow sports.
Yes,
so
and he's done a lot of things. I think something else happened. Think of what else happened.
That's crazy.
And he's relatively young, so people. I'm trying to think of what else happened after that. Okay, so he was traded, then waived. Okay, so he just signed with the Clippers.
Oh. Lord. But I wonder if she was a different hue, if this would have happened.
I'm sorry? Did someone say that there was the she didn't do anything.
Oh, I don't
Put a gag order on who? On
her? The girl, what's her name? Kizzy or Kiz? How do you pronounce her name?
I don't know how they could do that. I don't understand. The judge would do that because she's spoken in many interviews.
Yeah, that's why I remembered it, because I did remember seeing her on the thing saying that they were lying, and that people kept sharing it. So I watched it because I was like, "Who is this?" And I do remember. Oh my Lord, look at my nose. I do remember that. But I was saying if he just got signed to the Clippers, I wonder if she was more than half of what she is. If the outcome would have been the same. Because she's biracial, right?
I don't know.
She looks like she's
so.
half white. I don't know for sure, but she looks like she's still black. So I feel like if she wasn't, I wonder if he would have gotten the deal he got. No idea.
I think in sports it's a little different, and she says that he did not do anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I would say that if whatever you think, if you look at all of the details, you can decide for yourself what happened or what did not happen. But I just, my point is, his attorneys did not say anything negative about her.
Right.
And she, after a day or so, then she said this did not happen. Because it took a day or so before she really said anything.
Mm-hmm.
So, and if you see how she looked immediately, you can decide for yourself and how, but I just think it was handled. Whatever happened, it was handled.
Right. In a timely manner.
Yes.
Timely
Yes.
and appropriate manner. Man, listen, 2020 hindsight is something else, boy. Something else. Yeah, 2020 hindsight.
That is why it's important, I think, when you are at that level, well, any level, but say you're at I could probably pull in about $100 million in the next couple of years, contract level. You need to have that kind of team around you. You need to have that type of representation. And they do have big law firms that specialize in that, so that when, God forbid, something happened, they're ready and they can handle that. And they have a huge team, an international team that can handle that, and not a, one-man band, because that I could not, if we're going to go back there, I could not understand that. Could not understand that.
Yeah.
Well, I don't. Yeah, I hear what you're saying about she woke up and hit her chin. But so I'm just going to say, I guess that's possible, but he was knocking on the door, banging on the door, and everybody there heard it. Because, and this was 4:00 in the morning. So, but I don't know. That's just what the hotel said.
Right.
But I don't,
Yeah, and I have no clue, because I didn't follow that case either.
Whatever happened, they agreed on something, and it's over and done with. I think they're no longer together now. I think so. I think initially they were, and then I think they broke up.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I have a good friend. He is a correspondent for the NBA, and he knows all of the details. Next time we have to include him on.
Oh yeah,
because he knows everything and everybody.
Right.
He didn't have the right team around him. So true. So true.
And it continues, but that's another conversation.
Well, one thing.
The saga continues. He'll get it together.
Oh, Jaylen Brown. Okay.
Yeah, she. Hey James, how you doing? You late, buddy? We about to go, but
yeah.
Yeah, we. I think his 180 is finally getting, all the way turned. I think it might be halfway turned now. So once he makes that full 180, I think he'll be in business. He'll be in business because, I think that just in general, human nature, and just depending on how we're individually built, like you said, or if you're built to fight, if you're built to sustain a whole lot of, extraness. I think with that too is our ability to discern and choose properly our team. You know what I mean? And now that I'm articulating this, I think I'm siding with you now. I'm siding with you now because now I'm thinking about it. Everybody's not me. You know what I mean? I know for a fact that if I was in this very same exact situation, and again, I did my, I had my leverage and I knew what I was going to bring to the table.
Right.
I'm going hard because I'm just really resilient. And and that comes from the way I was raised, where I was raised, my personality type, the way that I've conducted my life thus far and gotten things done. So I'm not weak. I hate to say weak because everybody's different, but I have a stronger.
You're a fighter.
I am. And I mean, I know when to fold. I am definitely the type. I know when to fold. I'm not the type of person that I'm just going to keep going, knowing that there's just no way that it's going to happen. I make educated decisions when I fight, but that's why I said the leverage thing. But I think with that too comes the ability to not only critically think, but to assess situations, assess people, anticipate. You know what I mean? And when you don't have that skill set perfected, this is how you.
But that's why you have professionals. That's what if you're at that level, you surround yourself with professionals so that you can just focus on what you need to focus on. But you think
you are. Obviously, we thought we did, right? We thought we did. We thought we did.
Oh,
I see that Esquire after your name, and I should be able to trust that you know what you're doing, Cassandra.
Well, part of my, we have to be ethical. So if you come to me and you say, oh, I have this $100 million contract and this and that, and what my strategy, and I'm going to say, you know what? I need to bring in a big team. You need to have more because Cassandra Esquire, I don't, I'm here. I'm not international. I don't have that. But what I can do, I can be on your team, but we need to partner with, a big law firm and let them handle it. But I can still be here, but we need to, have people that do this kind of thing for a living, because I can't do that. And that is that is what I swear to do. I have to answer to the Bar Association. And if I do something, I take something that's not, I'm really not qualified. You come to me and I say, yeah, I can perform brain surgery and I know nothing. I've never done it before.
Right.
I'm not going to just kind of do this on you just to say, oh, I did it. They died, but hey, I did it.
I tried.
Yeah, did my best. So that's not my job as an attorney. I have to be honest. I can.
Or at minimum, because in all fairness, this wasn't exactly O.J. Simpson or.
It was. In
all fairness, I mean, I'm not expecting you to have a dream team, but at minimum, could you at least consult with somebody that actually knows how to do this? Pay them their little consult, whatever, and let them give you some tidbits or some hints or some tips. You know what I mean?
When you have $100 million contract, at you, that's hanging in the balance. that is serious. That is at that level. They know that it's going to become international news. They know because this movie that just came out 2-3 weeks ago or whatever became this huge hit. So of course you know what level it is. But if it's all about you, and you're not thinking about your client and protecting your client, getting this under control and having this go away as fast as it can, because we don't want to keep this in the news. We don't want to say, okay, we'll take it to trial. We'll take it to trial. This is all about them and all. You don't want to do that. You just want to say, let's make it go away super fast so that they can continue and hang on to this, which, you know. And if you can't do that
for myself, where you're more concerned about you than you are about them.
Could someone settle if a restraining order is in effect? So the restraining order is part of the criminal. That's criminal, and then there's civil, which is very different.
I think you're talking about when you said. I think you're talking about when you said, like the week that it happened.
Right.
Yes. You know, I think they give the restraining order within 24 hours.
Yes,
after
right there. Yes. Yes, absolutely, because that person is not communicating with them. They have some representation. So it's not as if I, the defendant, calls them up and say, hey, you know, let's talk about it. No, the defendant should not have any communications with the victim. But the victim is communicating with the defendant, right? Isn't the victim communicating? So I'm not sure. It depends on what's in the restraining order. What was in it? Does it say anything about communication, or what did exactly it say? It could be limit. But there generally is someone, when you're at that major level, there's usually someone else involved. Heavy on the friend.
They're talking about this, but to have Michael B. Jordan as a friend, I would have called him ASAP for advice. Yeah, friend in quotes, because I don't know what's that all about. But here we are.
You know, he when you have a major, he didn't need to call him. He had William Morris. Isn't it William Morris, or who's his agent?
WMA.
You know,
I don't know. Yeah.
You have one of the biggest agent. You're part of the biggest agency in the world. You don't need. What is Michael B. Jordan going to say? Let me call up my agent. Let me call my attorney. You know, you call your agent. Been in trouble, so I mean, you call your agent or whomever, not your manager. You call your agent. Somebody major. You call a studio head. You call a director. He's worked with powerful people. You call Tyler Perry. Somebody,
but yeah,
somebody that has
an circuit movie.
That has enough power that can somehow say, "Let me see what I can do. I know this person to call this law firm," or something like that. Right. A big law firm, or you know, someone that they know they're not going to make enemies out of the judge, or even, you know, as much as you could be pissed off at the DA, you're not.
And that's the beginning and end of it. It was just a perfect storm of ego, perceived opportunity, and politics.
Hypothetically speaking. Allegedly. Yeah, we're all talking, you know, we don't really know. We don't really know.
We don't know, but I mean, that's what it looked like. That what it looked like.
Seemingly, yes. I mean, just from the outside, and we can always say this is what we would have done or said, or I just, you know, and it's very sad. What is that? Oh, his agent. Okay. Is that who he was on the phone with?
Elon Rispoli. That was the agent that he was on. That basically put the kibosh on the whole. I was unconscious. during the
Yeah,
time that
the
he was
agent should have
banging on
said,
the
"Get
door.
out of there, get out of there." Just get out of there.
Yeah, because if
Yeah.
memory serves, I want to say he called the agent before he even got back to the apartment.
Right. Yeah.
So if that's the case, and I feel like that is what happened, because he didn't even call 911 until after he spoke to the agent.
Mm-hmm.
So that being said, if I was his agent, manager, or whoever he was calling all the way up until he got to that bedroom door and was knocking, I'd have been like, get your ass out of there, have the building do a wellness check, and you come back when we find out what's going on.
Or just if you know that, just leave it alone.
Leave it alone, because
let it go. Don't say anything.
Yeah, I'd have been like, get out of there. Get out of there.
Don't even just stay away.
Everything else aside, and I tweeted this much months ago. Everything else aside, when you're dealing with someone that is threatening to prune themselves from the timeline, they could take you with them. I literally have experienced that. My youngest daughter's babysitter, and they became family friends. The husband actually became my realtor in Atlanta. When I left Atlanta and moved here to Florida, he became my realtor. And he killed his wife and himself 5 years ago.
Oh, wow.
So I'm saying that to say, and these were Black people, and that was even more shocking, because statistically, and they were old. He was 79, she was in her 60s. So none of that was expected. And I'm saying that to say, when you have somebody saying those things via text, voicemail, whatever it is that they're saying it, the last thing you want to do is go over there. Because you don't know if they're serious or not. And if they are serious, they might have that mindset that, especially because you broke up with them, if I can't have you, nobody will, and you're coming with me. Didn't that happen to that NFL player?
Yes, right.
Yes. The McNair guy.
Right. And also Phil Hartman, this actor.
Phil Hartman, the SNL guy. The SNL, his wife took them both out. I would have stayed where I was. And did the non-emergency police look? You need to go check, get the maintenance guy to let you in. She sent me this. I don't know what she's talking about. I'm not going over there. And we wouldn't be having this conversation. But again, 2020 hindsight, because when you're an empathetic person, when you're a person that you don't, again, like I said, everybody's built different. That's the way I think. But if you're not brought up in an environment where you have to have that level of paranoia, you don't necessarily think like that, right? So I cannot blame someone for not having that street acumen to be like, oh yeah, this person might be hustling me, or this person might be, I think that also comes from growing up in New York City. You just everybody's up to no good.
People of color know that you have to be careful, and it's sad. It's very sad when you say, oh, 911, be careful, because if it's an emergency, they are generally going to send the police. They're not, here you are having a heart attack. They send the police. You say, oh, they're having a heart attack, or you stump your foot. The police come. So you have to, sadly, be aware of that if something is happening in your home, the police are going to come in there. And the police are not trained for anything, any medical emergency. What they're trained to do is look for a crime, and find a crime and look for a criminal. So they're going to be in your home looking around for some sort of criminal element, or if you are a criminal, even if they're there for something else. Sadly, that is, and especially if you happen to be, a person of color.
Yeah, in an all-white neighborhood, because New York, you're from New York too, heavily segregated. So if you're in a neighborhood where you're not typically supposed to be and living like that, you're automatically, because they didn't think it was even his apartment.
You just, sometimes you just have to let it go for a walk and just let it go. And a lot of people
70 blocks away where you were and call building maintenance and a non-emergency police number and be like, can y'all go check out that apartment? Because I got a weird phone call, weird text. I'm not sure how to take that.
Or just do nothing. Just do nothing. Just let it go. Of course, now you can say that, but I'm sure that. But
you don't necessarily want to do nothing because you can see the headline saying, so-and-so got a text and did nothing.
Well, unless it's happened many times before. And I think wasn't that the instance where it's happened before or said that
supposedly,
before?
Because on the 911 audio, he said she has a history of, and then it kind of bleeps out, it kind of cut out, but it insinuated that she had said something like that before. So again, that's why I'm like the leverage, because do we have proof of that?
Yeah. But even it's not against but here's the thing, it may be headlines, but it's not against the law. It's not against the law to just because somebody makes a threat. Yes.
Right.
So, and you don't know if they are or aren't, or maybe they just want attention. So, look, nobody wants, anything. You would not want anything horrible to happen to someone. Mm-hmm. But if you have, you need to protect yourself. And that's why you need to have other people around you. When you have this sort of power, financial power, there, then have people that can help you. So you can call up your Ray Donovan and say, hey, can you go to my place and see what's going to happen, what's going on? Because I don't want to get myself into any trouble. And there are a lot of actors that happen, but they know to do that. They know not to handle it themselves. Mm-hmm. And now, it's a lesson learned, hopefully, it's a lesson for a lot of younger actors or athletes, just
men, period, men in general.
And women. There are a lot of powerful women, that you don't want to get yourself in that situation where, a man, just doesn't want to leave and he's going to threaten you, and here you are, you have this position or this contract and you need to protect yourself, protect your family, protect your livelihood. Mm-hmm. You just surround yourself with people that can help, and you don't try to handle it yourself.
Yeah.
Leave it to the professionals.
Man, have mercy. Yep. Lord, have his mercy.
Danny, I know I said, Danny, I need to go at 8:00.
I know. I told you how this goes, but we're going to wrap it up. I told you.
It's like 9:30.
It's like, oh, man.
Well, I had fun.
Yeah, man, we got to do this again.
Yes, definitely.
But yeah.
Look at Wonder Woman call 911 or
I know. Let me tell you, that was my first instinct. But again, like I said, you don't know what you don't know. And then you also got to remember, we're of a certain age. We grew up in New York or in New York adjacent type communities. So your mindset is way different. You mature a lot faster. You're street smart. Your antennas are always up. You're always anticipating someone's next move or what they're going to do. You're taught very early how to protect yourself. You understand what I'm saying? You literally have cops coming to the school to tell you certain things, to teach you how to protect yourself in case somebody's following you on your way to school. I remember all that stuff like it was yesterday. So I can't blame somebody from West Hill, Texas for not knowing, you don't do this when this happens, or you should immediately do that when that happens. Especially if you're a empathetic person, if you're like a very compassionate type of person and you have sympathy for people, especially if this is somebody you just broke up with less than 24 hours ago, you don't just automatically stop loving the person or liking the person, especially if you admittedly are the reason why the breakup happened. So there's a lot going into that and why the decision was made to go over there. But again, like you said, if you have the right team around you, they would have been like, nah, dog, stay right where you at.
Right.
I'll call
Right.
for you.
Right.
I've done it before for family members. You know, I've called and I said, can you go check because something's not right. Something didn't sound right when I spoke to them.
Right.
Or whatever. You know what I mean? But yeah, again, 2020 hindsight.
Exactly.
But
yeah,
now everybody knows. Yeah, them spidey senses ain't no joke. We're just born with a sixth sense when you grow up in a rough urban environment. But it is what it is, you know.
And women, I think as women, especially as women of color, we have it anyway. You know,
yeah, built-in intuition.
I'm like, I have eyes all around me. My eyes can see in back. I can smell things. You know?
Oh yeah. That's why I'm like, don't sleep. I might play dumb.
Right.
I might play like I don't see what's going on, but I see you. I see you. So, you know, it is what it is. It is what it is.
Okay, guys.
Everybody, thank you guys for coming. Like, share, comment, watch on the replay. And we will hopefully see you again in the near future. I hope this was informative, helpful. Research umbrella policy. And everybody can have one. Every major insurance company offers it. Bundle it. Get you a discount. Do what you do. You guys, thank you, Cassandra. Everybody have a great night.
And remember, agreement, not settlement.
Agreement, not settlement. Settlement. So that settles it. All right, guys.
All right. Take care. Feel better, Danny.
I will. I'm going to hop on some NyQuil and take a hot bath.
All
Good
right.
night.
Night, guys. Bye.
Bye-bye.